Good morning, everybody. I am so excited today for a vegan live. I am here with my dear friend, Elizabeth.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for
Thank
having
you.
me. Thank you so much for showing up. And it's an honor. And thank you for coming to my house and doing it
Yes.
here. This is so fun.
Yeah, everything is a little bit different this week. Full disclosure, Elizabeth and I have this amazing opportunity to be in a leadership program called Hardcore Leadership.
Hardcore leadership.
And it's transforming our lives, and we're a little bit on a roller coaster. So if we seem quite not 100% present, it's because we're kind of floating right now, I'd say.
Yeah, a lot of changes, a lot of transformations, a lot of realizations, and really, being aware of who we are and who we get to be, which is so phenomenal, because that is really the basis of our chat today. Stepping into who we're meant to be, regardless of what's happened before, and really stepping into our love for ourselves, love for animals and the earth, and really embodying everything we desire from our life, and that's being a compassionate, loving human being, not only to ourselves but to everybody.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey?
Where do I start?
Wherever you feel called. In the beginning. Start at the beginning.
Well, start at the beginning. I've had a bit of a journey with learning how to love myself, and culminating all the way from birth to right now, which I'm really stepping into with the assistance of this program. I was born, of course, and we, as a family, my parents and my brother and I have an older brother, we ended up moving around a lot when I was growing up. My dad changed jobs for various reasons, searching for a better life for himself, searching a better life for ourselves as a family. And I ended up going to 13 schools before I graduated high school. That was a huge shaper in my life.
Before high school?
Yeah, before high school. Some years I changed schools 3 times. I think there's 2 experiences that I changed 3 schools in 1 year. And that really solidified an awareness in me that I don't fit in. I didn't fit in. I had to work really hard to fit in. I had to change myself, become a chameleon. One move from Texas to Washington State, I had an accent. This was when I was in formative years, and I knew right away that I needed to change my accent, because I was looked at not in a positive light, but something different. And so I really wanted to fit in, and I didn't know how. And I lost myself in the process. And it was really, really difficult. My mom was going through the same kind of experiences. She was trying to fit in. I won't tell her story, but my experience of her is that she was always trying to find a space to belong as well. So not having that guidance and understanding that I belonged, because my mom didn't feel like she belonged. My dad was always working, and wasn't very present in our life. Don't have too many memories of a lot of family time, unless we were on vacation. And then my family, big drinkers. So a lot of drinking during vacations together, during family gatherings, a lot of this is what's done, this is how we act as grown-ups. And so a lot of witnessing, behaviors, either not fitting in or trying to fit in not healthy ways. So that was huge shape for my life. My brother, same thing. He was trying to fit in and navigate his life. So I felt like we didn't have a very good connection. So in my whole family unit, which is really where we get our foundation for relationships, relating to ourselves as other people see us, and then relating to the world from our perspective, I didn't know how to do that. I didn't have any understanding of how to relate to myself, to other people. And then, of course, when I got into high school, relating to boys. And then further on, relating to men, I didn't know how to behave, because I always thought I needed to behave a certain way in order to belong. And of course, with our society telling us we need to drink, we need to be sexy, we need to be everything, that I was confused. I was really confused. And I didn't have, since I didn't feel like I belonged, I put that out there. And now that I can understand how we present ourselves the way we feel in our hearts, and as much as I wanted to belong, I had that resistance because I didn't feel like I belonged. So it was just a vicious cycle, which put me into not great situations. My first experience with a man, and I can say it's a man because he was much older than I was raped. And that was my understanding of, this is the way life is, even though I knew that was wrong. And I just began to feel like a victim that needed to really do everything I could to fit in. And that situation, I felt ashamed. I felt alone. I didn't know how to deal with the emotions. I didn't know who to talk to. I really felt alone. So in my really fucked up head, I thought that was love. And the person pursued me in a relationship and wanted to see me again. And I thought, okay. And I was older. This was when I was 17, and I had never had a relationship with anybody. And I thought, this was my chance. This is kind of my last chance. Cause like I said, I didn't know how to have relationships. And that just culminated a lot of issues. So I began, and before that, trying to fit in. I had a thyroid disorder. I was hypothyroid, so my body didn't regulate itself, and I was overweight because my thyroid wasn't helping my metabolism. So I began having an eating disorder quite young. Seeing alcohol in parties in high school, knowing that was the way to belong. It was just a scream and cry for help if anybody could see it. But because it's so normalized, right, not only eating disorders but drinking at a young age, because that's the way we feel connected, because we're all so messed up at that age. And we see adults and social media and the advertisements, and this is what you do to have fun and be included, and we didn't learn another way, so many of us. And so yeah, that my drinking started 15, 16, and that just perpetuated.
It's a little loud.
Yeah, hopefully you all don't hear that. Yeah. But we have some yard work going on. And so I just continued on with that behavior. And up until the last couple of years, I realized the identity that I had for myself was I was good at drinking and good at trying to make relationships that were unhealthy for me work. And because I had, yeah, I fell into a narcissistic relationship for 5 years, and I was so committed to try and fit in and committed to be supportive. It was abusive. I was taken away from my family, not really taken because I went willingly, but I was definitely manipulated and believed that that was the only way to fit in and be loved. And after that relationship, I was able to escape, and that was escape is literally what I did. I went to an acupuncture appointment after an abusive situation. He broke his hand in one violent experience, and had his hand in a cast for a while. This is a while ago. But even going to the hospital, I felt very ashamed, and I didn't want to tell on him, even though I had a black eye. I didn't let anybody know that. Yes, and they knew that I was in an abusive situation, but of course, as so many of us do, we feel so scared and alone, and it's such a common theme, which I'm really passionate about helping women in this situation, because I didn't know how to use my voice at this point. I was so beaten down. My self-worth was nil. And I felt alone. Luckily, I had a friend who looked out for me, and she said, "Why don't you try an acupuncturist?" And I went to an acupuncturist and told a little bit of my story, still being very timid. And she knew exactly what to do. I was on the table for 2 hours, and she was so powerful in creating my awareness of what had happened. And I got on the phone with my parents, and they sent me a plane ticket, and I went. I left that night. I never went back to the house. And luckily, there was a great program. There's always great programs. So if anybody is resonating with any of this experience, there are incredible programs all over the world to assist women in this situation. I was really grateful to have that ability to step in. I didn't quit drinking, though. That was one of the things that I still continued on full on. And then through that, still drinking, I ended up in another relationship. I ended up moving to Ireland because he was an Irish. He was in Ireland, and the relationship was a big codependent ball of everything. And I went to Ireland because he wasn't able to come back here due to visa issues, and felt needed to save the day and protect and support and all of this, and felt lost, and never really was able to have a sense of identification with myself, because it was only about 5 months between leaving the violent relationship to moving into this new one. And ended up moving to Ireland, really stepped in, as I do with everything, full on, making the best of it, identifying not with who I am, but with everything around me. And continuing on with drink. Just luckily, I've always been fortunate to land in a situation where I could get myself into the best situation possible with what was going on around me. Ended up getting, both of us got fairly good jobs over there. Um, Wanted to have a baby. We tried, and luckily had a beautiful baby girl. Had the best experience in pregnancy and in birth, and I'm just so grateful for the experience that I had over there. Very different from the States. It's another thing I really want to advocate for, the change and being able to own our bodies as mothers. And during the birth process, we get that taken away from us, and at the early stage of our pregnancies, letting us feel that we aren't powerful. But I was able to navigate that, luckily, with all of the power of being in control of my whole experience. And I'm so grateful I could give that to myself and to Haley, and to the family. It was really beautiful. And shortly thereafter, our family situation became quite difficult. Power struggles happened, and me being a Leo, protecting Haley, I had ideas about how we wanted to be as a family, and that, I don't know, I don't want to speak from his experience, but I felt like he was threatened by that. He was also going through body changes as well, and ended up going on medications, still drinking. We both were not full on, because luckily I had attention to Haley. I was breastfeeding and all of that. So those drinkings were more like sessions in Ireland, and they call them sessions because it's not all the time, but when you go, you're full on into it. And yeah, so eventually I had a goal to move back to the States, and we did, and moved back when Haley was about 2, and everything became a little more stressful. My family, we moved back in 2012. My family went away from their house that we were close to in 2014. I had a miscarriage due to violence in the situation, domestically, in 2014 as well. My grandma passed away. There were just a lot of things that happened that put us on a spiral of really disconnect and not being in a safe space, and drinking on both sides was quite a bit. I knew I wanted to quit. It's really difficult when the other person doesn't want to quit, and it just became really difficult. I didn't feel safe at the house. I didn't feel safe in the environment. I knew Haley wasn't feeling safe at this point. I was trying to get a job that made more money, so I had a lot of things going on, and the abuse just escalated and kept getting worse and worse. And eventually, I did need to have no leave, and that was in 2016, and I was in a not great situation. The people that I work with drank a lot as well, so that made me feel like I belonged because I was good at that, and it was a very high intense job. So when we were very focused on the job, but when we were off, then there was celebration and relaxation, and of course in the States, as we know, and that involves drinking. So yeah, and that culminated into a place where I wanted to quit, didn't know how, and then I had a really good experience going into a 12-step program, and went in as much as I could, working as much as I could. I have a beautiful sponsor that I'm still in touch with. 12-step program didn't really resonate fully with me, but it's a fantastic way of stepping into a life that you want, free from addictions, and stepping into a place where you can feel loved and people can teach you how to have that connection, not only with other people that don't drink, but with yourself as a non-drinker, which was really imperative. The literature was fantastic. It just opened the doors to so many other tools, as we call them, to have a better life and know that we can have a better life than what we did prior to quitting drinking. And the tools of just one day at a time, making it through, that's imperative. Because looking at the big picture,
it gets
it's really overwhelming. So if there's ever any change now that I know I need and want to make in my life, just make it for this moment, just make it for this minute, just make it for this day, and eventually you'll have more time behind you, and it makes it easier. So yeah, that all came up. I quit drinking. Is it May 4th?
Today, yeah.
I quit drinking 4 years ago today. It was my last day. It's my birthday. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So very interesting. Divine. Yes. So yeah, this was my first day of sobriety 4 years ago. It was done. And
was there did you hit rock bottom, or was there like a reason that today was the first day?
Well, I went into the program in April. I tried to quit, not stepping into the program fully. I didn't get a sponsor right away. I felt like I could just go to meetings and be small, observe, be on my own, do this. I've done so much before, and I hate asking for help. I've always hated asking for help because I don't want to be a bother. I've always played small. I didn't feel worthy, really dealt with worthless issues and feelings of not belonging, the whole thing. And even though I knew it was a safe space, I still didn't want to bother anybody. So I was still working a lot, traveling a lot with work. And yeah, just I had a flight, and I was upgraded and drank on the flight because I was getting free drinks, and got home from that flight and went and picked up Haley. And I knew I could drive. I'm sure I was under the limit probably, but still just the thoughts of drinking and needing to do that before I got to see my daughter. That was a big awakening. And then the next day I went to a meeting, and my sponsor now, she came up to me and she said that, yeah, if you're not going to quit, I can't help you. So it was really a choice. And I also, not wanting to bother people, I don't want to let people down. So that was the big kicker. I will let her down. And that was a big, powerful thing. So I couldn't put myself first, but I could put Haley first at those first times, and I can put my sponsor first, Janet. And I'm so grateful for her saying, yeah, you matter. She really, I matter not for myself, but I matter for her. And that was really big. Yeah. So powerful stuff. And then 2019, in 2018, finalized the divorce. That never got calm. It still continued with pressure, and I was trying to step into who I was outside of a relationship that wasn't healthy, and I wanted to make sure that I wanted that Haley was in a really good environment, one that I didn't have. I wanted to help her understand that, one, she didn't have to drink, to be a human, and be a happy human, and two, I wanted to have a safe environment that she felt supported and loved all the time without any kind of abuse um, or fighting or anything like that. And that just wasn't going to happen, um, until, it wasn't going to happen. Um, so I realized that, divorced then in 2019, still trying to make my way through work and prove myself in a job, um, being sober, all of that wonderful stuff. And I was in a car accident in 2019, really bad one, really bad one. Totaled my car, and it was raining really hard. Those of us in Florida know how hard it can rain. It was kind of a whiteout, where you can't see anything. I was in my lane, everything's fine. Somebody turned into me and hit me. And that that started a long road of recovery, with my body, with personal trauma, all of that wonderful stuff that we get to deal with when we aren't truly aligned with ourselves. I just put myself into other people's hands, didn't heal, didn't have much luck with the traditional methods of healing my body. And luckily we have this beautiful friend, Carrie Helmer of Super Vibes Tribe, who, this is the second time that's happened. That's my rain stick. Oh. That I haven't moved, but yesterday, 2 days ago, cool. It started talking as well.
It's like something
big's happened, agreeing with me. So Carrie helps with yoga therapy at home, and she's incredible. She's absolutely amazing. So a year or more after not getting help through chiropractic visits every other day, and being in that whole insurance system after the accident, I reached out to Carrie, and she came and she started working with me in my home, working with me through my schedule, and I began a proper recovery, through my body, teaching me how to posture my body, teaching me how to move my body, strengthen where I needed to. And it was just phenomenal. And through her contact, she does have a chiropractor, Stephen Weiss, who helped me. We went and had a session with him, and he helped change my posture completely and showed me what I needed to do to help me get that imbalance in my body from all of the deteriorated muscles and the herniated discs and everything that I was dealing with, and get me to a space where I was on the road to recovery, in my body. And it's still happening. I had a great visit with Carrie on Monday, but through that experience, I started talking to her about yoga teacher training. I started talking to you, Jennifer. We all got together and instigated a beautiful yoga teacher training program. And yes, absolutely phenomenal. We've all just finished that a couple weeks ago. So I can help others that have gone through this situation as well. Around 2019 as well, I was introduced, 2018 and 19, I was also introduced to breath work. Beautiful practitioner, Adelina. She brought breath work to my life through Wild Ginger Apothecary. She held a couple of classes there, sessions, and which changed my life. I was able to see myself. I was able to accept being in this body after going through very transformational breath work sessions. Magical. It was really, really transformative. So that began my journey on breath work as well. After that, I found Greg Mannion from Infinite Breathworks. He was doing Sunday free sessions. He also came through Sarasota, but I wasn't able to make his class. But through his Sunday sessions, one experience I had was just such a release of all the personal trauma that I had been through. And I was like, this is for me. This is something that I need. I looked into coaching with him, signed up to coach with him, then was part of his flagship training coaching program. And I'm complete with that. And so I am an infinite breath coach and have been facilitating that for over 1.5 years now.
Yeah.
And
beautifully
I get,
so.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored to be able to do that. But yeah, it's all been part of the healing journey that I've been on since birth. And yeah, and looking back now, I can say I wouldn't have it any other way, which takes a long time to get to. And through this program that we're going through now, really, really solidifying I wouldn't have it any other way. Because without those experiences and really assimilating them, knowing 100% the coping mechanisms that I used were serving me, and now just saying, yeah, that all of those experiences made me who I am. And I am a divine human being meant to be here and live.
Yes.
And help people who have gone through similar situations. And those of us that are healers or stepping into being healers or practitioners of any modality, we come to understand that in order to really connect with people, we have to go through similar experiences that the people have gone through that we're trying to help or that we're helping. And yeah, early on in high school, when I was dealing with my eating disorder initially, I wanted to help young girls that had self-awareness and self-worth issues. I knew that because I was having them for myself. But I couldn't fully step into that as a high schooler, of course, and fully embody somebody that does want to help and that does feel that as a calling. Like I said, we need to go through those experiences, which is hard to understand when you're going through them.
Yeah. It really is, because you wouldn't wish what you've gone through on anybody.
Right.
So it's.
But it happens.
But yeah.
And much worse happens. And at least I have the experience that I have now to be able to be trusted by those who have gone through it as well, because they can see that I resonate and I know what it feels like to feel that way and to need to escape and feel like I want to escape.
That there's no way out.
There's no way out. Yeah. But either staying in the situation that you're in, if it be abusive situation. But yeah, through this all and through my incredible, fortunate ability to connect with incredible people. And I'm still pinching myself a lot because I wonder, oh my gosh, how did this happen? How did I get so lucky to be in the circle of sisterhood that I'm in?
Well, I can answer that, because you're still like a beaming source of light. Like the first time I met you, I told you, like, why is she smiling so much? Like, who's she looking at? It obviously can't be me. Like, why are we so happy? And you're just like this, like ray of sunlight and love, of course you're going to attract amazing people because you are an amazing person.
And I felt the same way about you. It's like, yeah, oh, I really want to be her friend.
Oh.
She's so amazing and beautiful. And she'll never. And here we are.
And here we are.
I'm so blessed. I love you so much.
Love you.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your story.
That was a long story, but
well, it's a long life.
Yeah.
Wow. Just wow.
Yeah. I hope it resonates with people that have gone through it. And I don't know why I needed to drag that on so much, but if it resonates, then yeah, hopefully. And we haven't even talked about the vegan journey.
Oh yeah, when did that come into play? When did you start realizing?
Well, early in my sobriety. Actually, even before my sobriety, because I started going to a Kadampa meditation center, which is a Buddhist center that we have in Sarasota. Incredible people, incredible way to learn how to meditate, incredible way to learn how to live with compassion. I was going there. I was in a very high intense situation in my job, traveling back and forth from the Keys after Hurricane Irma, and it was really high stress. And they had these beautiful Sunday sessions that I'd go to just to find some peace. And it was really beautiful. And through my connection with them, of course, Buddhists want to have supreme compassion for all living beings. And one way to have compassion is to not to eat them, of course. And so I embraced as much as I could at that time with the awareness that I had, and really enjoyed the food that I was able to make. I started making, when we'd have events there, I was a volunteer at the center. And when we'd have events, I volunteered to bring in these beautiful spring rolls, which we haven't made yet, and various other things that were beautiful. And then through our good friend Jennifer, she helped me step in fully to veganism. She had been vegan for a long time in her family. Supporting that, and I learned so much from her, and then eventually you, but the turning point, I was on the back and forth a little bit up until about a little over a year ago, and then I watched The Game Changer.
The Game Changers changes the game.
Game Changer changed the game, and it made so much sense. It absolutely made so much sense to me. The way they lay it out, the way they talk about the biology, the physiology, the way they talk about how we don't need it and how conditioned we are and how it's detrimental to our bodies and to eat meat, that is, and how beneficial it is. And if you haven't seen The Game Changer, it's a big focus on all of these very high intense athletes who utilize veganism to be at their top notch health and performance, peak performance. And it's a game changer because we are taught so much. You need meat. That whole pyramid that's put out by the FDA, it's shite. Sorry, it's just shite. Don't pay attention with the carbs and it's sorry for anybody that's totally involved in that, but look it up, do the research yourself. We are all conditioned not only to believe that we need to drink, but we need to eat things that are harmful. And if you look at I'm gonna get on the soapbox, if you look at the health of the US population and the world, now that they've been introduced to fast food, it's shite. It's horrible. Our system is, and we could go on and on, our system is set up to perpetuate being unhealthy, to perpetuate us being
It's a lot of money in that.
Oh gosh, 100, so much money.
Yeah.
And it's all tied in together. The sugar industry, the cattle industry, with the beef, and all of it. So I don't want to be led blindly anymore.
We get to take the blinders off.
Yeah.
Just
not only with of how we're supposed to be as women in our society, but how we're supposed to be in society as alcoholics, essentially. And then, I mean, doing things consistently harmful for ourselves to feed into our health system, which is, like I said, perpetuated to make money off of unhealthy people.
And it also, the way I'm seeing it too, is that the solution is outside of ourselves. It's going to be the food, the drink, whatever it is, but the love is in here.
Yes.
The love doesn't come in the form of a beer or a burger or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
It's in here.
Yes.
We've been running around like crazy people trying to find what's already in here.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the whole basis of our program that we're in now. That's the whole basis of our circle of sisterhood that Jamie Day has beautifully amazing. Connected us with. That's, I mean, when we really get into our authentic human beingness, it's not about doingness of everything out there. It's about how we can be as humans. And of course, we aren't taught that.
No, we're on the contrary, we're taught that taking care of ourselves is selfish.
Yeah.
But it's all that, like, if we don't put our own oxygen mask on first, we literally can't take care of anybody else.
Right, right.
Because there's nothing more to give.
And that steps into the whole breath work thing. Y'all, just test yourself. How many deep conscious breaths do you take in a day? I think we breathe 25,000 breaths every day. And how many of those do you really think about? Probably not very many. So that's one of the things, beautiful gifts of breath work, to bring in that conscious breathing, conscious being, and really connect with our heart, our mind, and our beingness, because of course, without breath, we wouldn't be here anyway.
I love that.
So, and that's huge. And the more conscious you become, the more aware that we are led and taught to be unconscious beings in our society, or unconscious doings in our society.
I'm also so present to how the universe always has our back too, because as we've been talking now for 45 minutes, the world was really crazy outside of us, as you were telling your story. Just like the turmoil is coming out from outside. There's a lot of noise, a lot of this chaos, and now we just get to come to a place of peace and love. Like, I feel like it's just, and also being aware to not react to everything that's going on, because we can run around and like, oh my God, we need to fix what's out there. We need to fix what's out there, but the calm really comes from in here. Like, it's just, it was such a like beautiful metaphor, I think, for everything, you know.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a beautiful way to picture that. Yeah, because we're gonna go through some chaos in life, and it's just about how we can keep present in our own being. That can help us navigate these crazy waters that we get to navigate.
That we get to. We don't have to do anything. We get to do. Like, we were in the headspace this morning because this training had us up quite late last night, and we were like, oh my God, we have to do this live. And then instead, like, Elizabeth took us through breath work, and we just like turned on some music and just connected to what are we trying to create? Like, what is this? And then just shifted it from we have to we get to share this knowledge. We get to share our love and our experience in the hopes of helping somebody else. I mean, that's a big get to. I mean, that we still get to be here, and hopefully just plant a seed and help somebody else, and or just letting people know that you're never alone.
Never ever alone. There's always a program. There's always something. There's always a person. I know, Kristine, you always put yourself out there as call me. You can call me anytime. Kristine's going to put my information, but Yeah, and really, really reach out.
Yeah.
And no matter what, you're never a bother,
Mm.
ever a bother to anyone. Well, to some people you might be, but there's going to be somebody that really is out there for you.
And the only reason that they think you're a bother is because you're holding up a mirror for
they
them.
have a problem themselves.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, so keep asking.
Yeah, and if one person isn't available,
Yeah.
call the next person. If they're not available, call the next person.
Yeah.
Never, never, never feel alone, because we as human beings are never meant to be alone, no matter what our society tells us.
Yeah.
And yeah, I never want anybody to feel alone. So yeah, call me, reach out, reach out. Yeah. And if you're curious about anything, whether it be veganism or recovery, there's programs for recovery out there. Kristine and I are part of a beautiful, beautiful group that Jennifer and I formed, but it's not our group, it's our group as a whole. And it's Awakening and Recovery. So there are programs. If you don't resonate with 12-step program, even though I highly recommend, if you're ever curious about that, try it. But there's other options out there that can help 100%. And one of the things that I really want to stress, abuse being witnessed by a child is never okay. If you're in a situation where you don't feel safe and you feel like your children aren't safe, reach out, because it's just not okay to let them go through that trauma and feel unsafe at any point in their lives.
And I'm gonna go back even further. Of course, abuse period is never okay.
Of course. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. And I can understand that being in that situation, it probably feels like there's no way out, but there's always a way, and you don't have to do it alone.
Never. Yeah. And I felt alone. I really did. And calling my parents to get out of that first situation was really hard. But I knew and just could accept that, I know they love me, and I needed help. And if they weren't there, there was a resource available in the town that would help me.
How did you find that resource?
Luckily, when I came here, my mom looked up domestic violence shelters, resources, and we were in Port Charlotte at the time, and the place is called CARE, CARE, and absolutely incredible. And I went on to help with fundraisers for their program after they helped me so much. And there's always something. So Google, and you can pull up domestic violence. There's going to be resources that you can pull up and use. Here in Sarasota, we have Spark, another phenomenal program, and they give legal aid, they give counseling, they give all kinds of guidance, and can't recommend those places and those types of places high enough, because they're supported by people just like us, and they're there to help. And another way to know you're never alone. And
your life matters. Your life
matters. Even if you don't feel like it at the moment, it does. You don't have to feel like it doesn't anymore. And you're loved. You're loved. Yeah. I'm so grateful. Anything else that we missed? I know we talked for a long time, but we can talk forever.
We can talk forever. No, I think we touched on everything.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you for being so open and vulnerable and courageous and sharing your story.
My pleasure. It's my honor. My pleasure. I really am honored to be able to step into knowing that I'm here for a reason. And my reason is to help out. I've known that from an early age. I just didn't know how, especially if I didn't feel worthy myself.
Right.
But really, as we step into our worthiness, we see the value that we can share with other people. And that's really what we're here to do.
That's so beautiful.
Thank you so much. My pleasure. I love you so much. I love you. And speaking of helping other people, there is a beautiful series that I'm doing with breath workers from all over the world, and their passion is just like mine, to help people. That's why they get into breath work. And you can be aware of breath work, you can be a practitioner, you can be just starting out, you can not know what the heck breath work is, and join. And Kristine, I'll ask you to, if you don't mind sharing that, that link for that.
Your summit?
Yes,
I'm so excited.
Summit. Yeah, I am too. I'm the recordings are underway, and the interviews have been so inspiring by fantastic people. So that'll be launched on June 1st. And I can't speak more highly about everybody that I'm communicating and connecting with. And I'd love for you all to experience it as well.
Yes, I'll definitely share a link for everybody to sign up for that. Yes, I can't wait.
And those of you that are local, I've taken a break in April, but I'm bringing back the Divine Breath at the Beach, and we're doing that on Fridays at 6:30. We're going to take it back to Access 5. Come join our circle. It's really, really an honor for me to lead the circles and the sessions, and it's really such a pleasure and an honor. And I love seeing people out there taking care of themselves, giving themselves love, and taking the time to do conscious breath, which is so important. So
yeah, I highly recommend the Fridays on the beach.
Thank you.
I sometimes it's like, I don't know if I can make it to the beach. Every time I leave, just like
you're
like,
always such a support.
Like grateful to be alive, grateful for my friends, grateful for this beautiful planet we live on. It's just, yes, join us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.